Folks, I think many of you out there, unless you actually are in the business of interfacing with the IRS every day, don't realize just how incompetent some people slash departments are at the IRS. Okay, let me give you an example, or just something that my staff brought up to me today that just caused me to say, "Oh my gosh, what is going on at the IRS?" Um, okay, well, let me. Yeah, I'm going to go over this notice that my client received, but first let me kind of set the preface, the story here. So this is a client who we've been working with for well over a year. The issue is that she had filed a married filing jointly tax return with her boyfriend and reported a lot of her boyfriend's income on that joint tax return with both social security numbers on it. The boyfriend, well, now ex-boyfriend, and our clients, right? However, they were not married at the time. But she still is been stuck with this large amount, I think 6 figures worth of tax debt from this married filing joint return that she filed with a former boyfriend. Okay, so we were going to go in there and well, we did. We amended the return, right, to show her as head of household. She has a dependent child, right? We amended that return for head of household. We have clear authority uh, to do so, right? And again, the 3 years, and we weren't even claiming a refund on this return, right? So there's no even claim for refund or overpayment. So the 3-year RSED rules out the window, right? And look, even if there was a due date for this, right, to change the filing status, like there is a due date, right? You can't just indefinitely amend your return from married filing joint to something else, right? Indefinitely. However, in the Internal Revenue Manual, it says if the married filing joint election is potentially invalid, if the individuals were not legally married, did not consent to the joint return, or the return contains a forged signature. So this is the case here. The individual were not legally married. Okay? And it says allow claims if the marriage was not legal for federal tax purposes, even if the claim is received after the due date, if the following is present: verification such as court documents showing the marriage was not valid for the tax period involved. Okay? And the client had a revenue officer assigned. At the time the revenue officer was assigned, we had the client go to her county, get a certification that she was never married, right? They searched all the marriage records from January 1st, 1893 through this date here, right? Revenue officer said that looks good. Okay. That was last year. We're waiting to get a formal notice from the IRS that the amended return's been processed and her balance is now way lower. Oh, and what do we get? We get this letter, and I'm going to go over this letter. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. The real crappy part of this for her is not that she owes 100-something thousand to the IRS. She owes as a result of that, she owes a ton of money to the California Franchise Tax Board as well. Okay, that's our franchise tax board. It oversees the income tax here in the great state of California, and they're garnishing her. And we submitted an amended return with the FTB as well. They will not release the wage garnishment. And we said, well, the balance is in question, right? They said they were not going to do it. They're not going to change anything about our client's case until the IRS has made a determination regarding the amended return, right? If the IRS accepts the amended return, the state will as well, essentially, right? And then release the garnishment. Well, we have actually got the garnishment released, not released, reduced, but it's still there because she owes such a large balance to the state, right? So there's like two things here. There's the IRS thing, there's a state thing. And we've been waiting so long for the IRS to get back to us on the amended return. And they did. They did a few days ago. And here's what the geniuses at the IRS sent us. Dear taxpayer, we can't allow your claim. We disallowed your claim for refund or credit. And this is the hilarious thing. We're not making a claim for a refund or credit here. She's still showing a balance on the amended return, albeit a lower one. And even in this very notice, it says amount of claim $0, right? It's referencing the 3 years rule, right? Which says, hey, you can't say make a claim for a refund 3 years after the due date of a return, right? But you can always you can amend a return, right? To change the ultimate liability, right? Which is what we're doing here, right? So this 3-year rule doesn't apply. And even if there was some deadline for this claim, the IRM says even if the claim is received after the due date, the claim should be allowed if the married filing joint election was invalid because the individuals were not legally married. Okay? And we had gone through all of this with the revenue officer. We had attached statements to the amended return, citing the IRM, citing the Internal Revenue Code. The IRS is sitting on this amended return for almost a year, I believe. Meanwhile, we can't do anything for a client with the state. They're garnishing her because the state is waiting for the IRS to make a determination about the amended return. And this is the IRS's low IQ, simply just dumb response to us is, we can't allow your claim. You filed your claim more than 3 years after you filed your tax return. A, we made no claim for refund or credit. Okay, and the notice even acknowledges that here, amount of claim 0. Okay, so the 3-year rule doesn't apply. And even if there was a normal limit here on changing MFJ to something else, which there is, right? The IRM says you should allow the claim even if it's received after the due date. We had already gone through all this with the revenue officer. We had attached a statement to the amended return. And this is what we get. Almost a year after submitting all this. Okay? And of course we're going to appeal it. Okay? Of course we're going to appeal it. Right? No extra charge for a client because, we're sticking with them here. Right? I mean, sometimes we would upcharge for this appeal or charge a bit more because it's more time. And hey, this is really the IRS's stupidity, not our fault. Right? It's kind of like, if you do a tax return right and the IRS randomly selects you for audit, in some cases we will offer audit protection with the tax return, right? In that case, we're on the hook for the audit defense. But, in this case, sometimes, hey, this wasn't really our bad. This is the IRS being dumb, right? So we sometimes we do charge extra for the appeal. In this case, we're not. We are going to appeal it, and I'm confident we'll win in appeals. But it's just so dumb, guys. Like, it's just so dumb. Now, look. There is someone who signed this, or at least whose electronic signature is on the page, right? Mr. Walker. Okay, Mr. Walker. But I don't know if anybody actually did this. It could just be a computer spitting this out. I mean, it's not a CP. It's an LTR, a letter, which generally sometimes means that there is an actual human involvement here, right? Such as this Mr. Walker. But you know what? I'm not giving the IRS the benefit of the doubt, right? We're getting a lot of people applying to choice tax relief from the IRS right now, more than we've ever seen, for obvious reasons, right? Because what am I doing over there? Because the all these layoffs at the IRS, people taking a deferred buyout, right? Looking for kind of a second career. Honestly, folks, it's not a plus that someone worked at the IRS, in my opinion, right now. Okay. I could go on and on about offering compromises too right now. I just talked to one of our tax attorneys and her case manager, right, this morning. We talked about this case I just showed you and a bunch of offer and compromise cases where the offer examiner, the offer specialist just does not know what they're doing. It's like you're working offer. You're living and breathing offers and compromise at least 40 hours a week. How do you not know these basic offer and compromise rules? It's absolutely baffling to me. It was baffling to the tax attorney Andrea and her case manager Kylie that I had my call with this morning. And we have to appeal these rejections of the OICs. And thankfully, there's smarter people in the appeals unit, right? And the appeals officer sees things our way, and they agree the offer examiner is being a dummy. So I'm getting off the rails here, but my point is, folks, is that I just need to vent about the IRS right now because they are not making things easy for taxpayers or the representatives like us right now. I mean, this should have been an easy case. Not easy, right? But it should not have taken this long, and it should not have taken as much staff hours and my hours as it has. Okay, so forgive me for being a little bit long-winded here, but I can't stand the IRS right now. I think there are some major problems. And anyway, if you're looking for a team to deal with the IRS so you don't have to, that's what we do at Choice Tax Relief, right? It's not fun. It's not always glamorous. It's a lot of pulling your hair out and being frustrated, but hey, that's what we do. If you owe the IRS or your state at least $10,000 in back taxes, congratulations, you qualify for a free consultation with us here at Choice Tax Relief. Or if you have multiple years of unfiled tax returns that you are looking to get filed, we know how to discreetly get you back in compliance. To request that free consultation, give us a call, 866-8000-TAX. That's 866-8000-829. Or you can go to choicetaxrelief.com, fill out the form on the website. We will reach out to you. I have some other tax relief videos here on the left-hand side of the screen for your education and enjoyment. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.